Now independence is good for the young and the old, also for me and you. Yes, independence is great for the whole population, including your children too. So I believe that if we try our best, it will be a great success. So let us live in unity for progress and prosperity. Swing it, Daddy.
In August 1962, Jamaica celebrated its independence from British rule. It was a time of great optimism. After centuries of colonial administration and decades of political tussles, Jamaicans were taking charge of their own governance. Princess Margaret paid a royal visit to support the celebrations, and the National Stadium was the scene of festivities with marching bands, parades, and dancing. The sound of Lord Creator's Calypso, Independent Jamaica, played in cars, homes, and on street corners. His refrain, "I believe if we try our best, it will be a great success, so let us live in unity for progress and prosperity," seemed to reflect everyone's hope for the future. A year later, Jamaica's first international exhibition after independence toured Germany and Britain. Titled Face of Jamaica, the exhibition comprised works from a cross-section of Jamaica's artists and included the contemporary forms of Carl Parbu Singh, Barrington Watson and Eugene Hyde, sculptures by pioneer Edna Manley and a young Christopher Gonzalez, and the symbolic imagery of self-taught artists such as Capo Malika Reynolds and John Dunkley. The choice of Germany and Britain for its tour was a strategic one, signifying the promotion of Jamaica as a trading partner and as a tourism destination with a varied and exotic culture. Norbert Lorck Schierning, who had the idea for the show and financed it with £10,000, was managing director of H.H. Pott, a Flensburg-based company, which was at the time the sole distributor of Jamaican rums in Germany. In his contribution to the exhibition catalogue, he hoped his company would show the Jamaican public that there is more to Jamaica than rum. The continuation of the exhibition's tour at the Tea Centre in London also seemed significant. This post-war architect-designed building in the heart of the city on Regent Street was funded by various Commonwealth members with the aim of promoting their products. Its glass-fronted facade and purpose-designed interior seemed ideal for signalling that the relationship between Britain and Jamaica was on a new, more modern footing. Combined, the exhibitions in 6 German and 3 British cities served to reinforce commercial ties while providing fresh insight into Jamaica's beauty, cultural diversity, and economic sustainability. The title, Face of Jamaica, allowed the organizers to test Jamaica's motto, "Out of many, one people," and present its newly independent face to the world. Edward Seaga, then Minister of Development and Welfare, established a selection committee to oversee what might be included, while art critic Norman Ray suggested the artworks should be grouped into 3 categories: work, play, and worship. Even though much of the work submitted did not fit into these island stereotypes, the catalogue followed this scheme. The exhibition consisted of 48 paintings, 18 sculptures, and 12 drawings from the 1930s to the 1960s by over 30 of the country's leading artists, as well as 299 craft works, including straw and woodwork and embroidery. The importance of the exhibition as a glamorous showcase for Jamaica cannot be overestimated. The media attention in both Jamaica, Germany, and Britain communicated that excitement. The Gleaner, Jamaica's national newspaper, tracked the show from start to finish, reporting the opening receptions, attendance figures, and giving updates on Barrington Watson, the leading artist and then director of the Jamaica School of Art, and the painter Karl Prabhu Singh, who stayed with the show for its duration. Edward Siaga attended its opening in Freiburg, while the special guest in Munich was Carol Joan Crawford, still in her reigning year as Miss World. Photographs of Watson meeting this stunning beauty queen at the airport in Munich, or viewing self-taught artist Capo's work, provided great fodder for society columns, but they also tell us much about that post-independence moment and how Jamaica was poised to present itself to the outside world. The juxtaposition is telling. Watson, trained academically in Europe, would go on to become one of the founders of an art group that pushed modernist artistic principles and an internationalist outlook in Jamaica. By contrast, Capo, along with other self-taught artists, was already being celebrated as an icon of an indigenous Jamaican art movement, the roots of which were said to be inspired by Africa. Carol Joan Crawford, as a world icon, sent a message at home and abroad that Jamaica had style. This encounter illustrates tensions even more apparent in the coming decade, that being the identification of a truly Jamaican artistic tradition that could also accommodate younger artists who aspired to be in the international art world. A main concern of post-independence Jamaica was how to join the urge for nationalism with a growing desire for modernity. This dichotomy is reflected in the multiple art styles showcased in About Face. Jamaican art had developed in response to nationalist concerns, whereas being modern was generally associated with developments elsewhere, mainly in Europe and North America. There had even been vigorous debates at home about whether the Caribbean was even capable of generating modernity. These discussions amongst politicians and cultural agents impacted local cultural politics, but they also affected the face that Jamaica wanted to show to the outside world. In 1964, when the exhibition made its tour, the newly independent nation appeared to be on the up and up. Jamaica, like its queen, was beautiful. Its mineral-rich red earth in St. Elizabeth, Mandeville, and St. Catherine was satisfying a growing world demand for bauxite, while its white sand beaches were acclaimed by movie stars like Marilyn Monroe and Rock Hudson. For $105, you could book a 5-day stay at the newly constructed Playboy Hotel in Ocho Rios. Everybody wanted to be a jet-setter, but there was another side to that story of glamorous wealth that would make itself heard before the decade's end. Reggae, Rastafari, and the groundswell of a suppressed African culture was about to refashion Jamaican identity. As these three cultural icons meet in this image, the new sounds of ska and reggae were already storming the airwaves, displacing the more Caribbean calypso beat and Lord Creator's message that had dominated pop culture just a year or two earlier. This new downbeat, with a combination of local references and Beatle wailing, seemed to offer a new form of expression and social critique. Bob Marley's refrain, "She's just a playboy," is a cryptic commentary on Jamaica's image and the excitement and tensions that exhibitions like Face of Jamaica would generate at home and abroad. Face of Jamaica toured Europe for 9 months between 1963 and 64, and it was never viewed in Jamaica. 50 years later, this exhibition, About Face, revisiting Jamaica's first exhibition in Europe, reconsiders that touring show by collating and representing its art and related materials online. Using this interactive format, we invite you to see much of the show as it was staged back then, to look at many of the original pieces displayed, to study its catalogue, and to consider its various locations as well as its reception through newspaper clippings and reviews. Text panels, photography, and multimedia, such as music and video, are all employed to help re-envisage this exhibition. By restaging the exhibition for the 50th anniversary of Jamaica's independence online, we can provide access to an event only previously experienced in Europe. It is hoped that this online display can serve as a research tool for those interested in understanding how the visual arts supported new definitions of nation. The exhibition remains online for the year of Jamaica's 50th anniversary celebration, after which some of its materials will be archived in DLOC, the Digital Library of the Caribbean.